I wish they would just, well, fuck off for one, but leave the Borg alone. Just, I hate this. I hate when they had this one awesome concept from a TV show from fucking 30 years ago. Like, the Borg were amazing because they were so alien, they were so different, they were so freaky because they didn't have like a personality or a leader or anything like that. They were just this crazy collective consciousness. Um, and they couldn't be stopped, they couldn't be bargained with
Human
or
ants.
negotiated. What's that?
Human ants.
That's it. That's what they were. But it's like, that was too cool an idea to just leave alone and just have it be that one-off episode that was awesome. Like, they had to keep exploring more about them and giving you more information and then humanizing them, giving them personalities and splintering them off into factions.
Dude.
And they gave them a queen. And now with Picard, it's like they've just made them into like Borg light.
They've joined the Federation. They ruined it.
I just
So they joined the Federation, the Borg, just because they asked once. And they asked a 97-year-old Picard. He said, okay.
You know what's funny though is everything.
yeah,
Jacob just
fuck
said-
this.
Oh, God.
Ah,
Starfleet. Sorry. Starfleet. I'll be accurate.
Everything you just said though, it just reminds me of what like so many different things have done. One of them is like what Doctor Who's done to the Weeping Angels. It's like this amazing single episode concept, and then it's like you bring them back, and you're like, all right, and I just can't stop bringing them back every single week. It's like, look, there they are, same payoff
Yeah.
every time.
The thing that makes these things interesting is because you don't know much about them. There's a mystery to them, but like, yeah, when you run an idea into the ground like that, is absolutely the law of diminishing returns. It's just so sad to see it done over and over again. It's like Q, like from Star Trek. He was a
Yep.
fantastic character back in
My
the day.
favorite.
Yeah, and when you first see him in Encounter at Farpoint, he is not a good guy, especially as well when you see him later in the Borg episode. You know, he's there to teach you some fucking hard lessons about the galaxy, the universe that you're facing. It's not a good place, and it's filled with terrifying things, and you're going to learn that the hard way.
That
But
will chill your
the-
soul.
Well,
But
don't worry,
every
he's
single
dead
time
now.
he appears, they make him like more goofy, more comedic, softer. Just this figure of fun, like he's someone that you kind of laugh
Well,
at.
here's what I think. I think Q first encountered human beings in that quadrant and is like, oh, great, it's these terrible little monkeys. But then he just gets an affinity, especially for Picard. And I think that sort of altered Q's state of thought when it comes to corporeal beings that live in a linear state of time. And maybe he was just somehow made slightly more human over time by being around Picard. It's just made him more playful and interested in human beings that he took favor upon them, which I think in Star Trek lore he has done a couple times through history, but I can't fully remember, and I'm not going to look it up right now.
He's got that arc in Next Generation, right? That arc is there, and then it gets ruined in Voyager.
Yes.
As Drinker was saying, they like just went to the well way too many times, and then now he's dead, so it doesn't matter. Sorry.
Well, they went to the well
He'll probably be
also
back,
in
though.
Deep
probably be
Space
back.
Nine, where he
Everyone
gets
comes
punched
back.
in the face by Cisco.
Okay,
And he's like,
Yeah.
Picard never hit me. Well, I'm not Picard. And then that was the end of it, which was funny.
in Star Trek. So
I think All Good Things was a great way to round out his character arc with
Yes.
Picard and everything. Like, he taught him one last really important lesson about the nature of the universe and what lies ahead for him. And great, you know, that's it. He leaves him with that.
No.
That would,
But
that
I
would, yeah.
think-
Nothing. That's the thing. Nothing can ever be fucking left. If there's a good idea that can be mined for a few more bucks, they will absolutely do it.
Well, even in that
Yeah.
episode when Q was leaving, he still said the trial is never over, Picard. And he goes, well, I hope I never see you again. And, you know, like Q was going off into like the distance. He goes, I'll see you out there, which still, it's a good way to end everything. But it was so ambiguous. You know, if there was going to be another Star Trek, they'd wrangle Q back into the game, which
Yeah.
they obviously did.
Well, Gary, it's funny to think about the gentleman in Buffy. It's like one episode that could easily have been mined over and over and over again. People loved it. They got an award for it, but nope, one and done.
that's restraint that does not get practiced anymore.
No.
Restraint in 2022, you bigot.
Oh,
Well, here's the thing. It relies on you having a store of other good ideas that you can use. You know, you're like, okay, I can throw out this great idea and it gets used once and that's it. I don't need to keep relying on it because I've got a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm going to bring
Yeah.
out. And when I run out of good ideas, I'm going to end the show or the story that I'm telling because that's it. I know I'm done now as a writer or as a storyteller. But with what we have now, there is no new good ideas with Star Trek. It all has to just be like, let's just call back these old characters, these old concepts. Let's just keep recycling it because there's a little bit of fan enthusiasm still for it. There's people recognize them. People recognize the Borg. They recognize Q. Of course, yeah, let's bring them back in again. But let's try and subvert expectations a little bit by having them be slightly different.
Well, there's two issues here, really. One, J.J. Abrams. Ever since he did a Star Trek, it's like we're perpetually stuck in the Abrams style of Star Trek. We're fucked. And two, most of the people writing for Picard, I don't think they are capable of writing anything outside of emotional drama-filled bullshit, which isn't what Star Trek was really about, in my opinion. Like personal dramas. There's too many of those.
They're the kind of people who put like bread 3 times on their grocery list. They don't even know what the fuck they're doing. So I tweeted Major Grin fucking he tears them apart like every day. It's a great channel, go check it out. But his latest one, and it's a little thing, he points out that they can't get the continuity of their own goddamn show right. They mix up the moons of fucking Jupiter. So Rene Picard is supposed to go to Europa. And they called it Io in another episode, and it's like, oh Jesus Christ! I mean, this is $10 million television show, and they can't even get the fucking moons of Jupiter right. And you think, well, what's the big deal? Well, dude, they do that with Star Trek every day. And in this little short video, he points out like 6 continuity errors just in a scene, in a single effing scene where people like speak about 4 sentences to each other. It's crazy how bad it is. It's
okay. This is going to sound
low
sexist.
for continuity right
this
now.
is going to sound sexist, but I recall being told that like women are hired specifically to watch these shows and movies and catch continuity errors. Is this still true?
I never would have thought they've hired anybody to do that ever, considering
No.
how...
It used to be a job.
Yes. There is a person that is supposed to keep. Yes, there's absolutely a job in Hollywood where somebody keeps track of a timeline. When you're doing a show, you're supposed to have a Bible, of some sort with rules and where it's going. They don't care, and they could care less. They've said it. They've said as much. We don't give a fuck.
Can I ask you a question as well? Because talking about Star Trek Picard, is it true that like they run into like a 21st century ancestor of Noonie and Sung,
Yes.
who happens to look exactly fucking like
him.
every other member of the Sung family? Because that's how
Hey, man.
families work. Like everyone just
Inbreeding, I
looks
don't know.
exactly like the ones that came before.
And-
Is that all just to get Brent Spiner in? Is it like
Yes.
just literally we just need a reason to bring Brent Spiner back into this show?
So he doesn't have to be Data.
He's got the okay.
Fat
So at
Data.
the final episode, he was working with a Gerati Borg queen and to stop Rene Picard to going to one of the moons of Jupiter, because we're really not sure, because they said 2 of them, to find a life, a microorganism.
Yeah, a microorganism.
Even though he was not an environmental scientist. They pointed this out in Red Letter Media. He was a genetic scientist, and that microorganism like cures the oceans and the skies.
Yeah, it cures climate
Yeah,
change.
fix something.
For some reason, they don't need robots because of this. So his whole research gets blown. So he goes into a file after he's pissed and pulls out a file, and it says the Khan Project, and I'm like, Jesus,
Fuck off.
Yes, they are trying to find ways to get Brent Spiner, who, like, by the way, cannot act. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to say I'm sorry. He's terrible. He's freaking terrible in anything he does except as Data.
Yes. I guess
I
being
think
Data masked it for me for years.
I think I remember watching him in like
Spiner should get an Oscar for Data.
I remember, yeah, he was good at that, but I remember watching him in like Independence Day, and it's almost like
I
all
don't
that
even
pent up.
remember that.
Well, it's almost like after spending 10 years playing Data and not really being able to show any kind of emotion, it all came pouring out in that performance, and he was just like a fucking child that had like, too much sugar. He was so ridiculously like over the top with everything. It just made me think: is this just how he acts like when he's not playing Data? Is it just like a chance to show real emotion?
Yes, because he's an asshole. Well, for one, he plays two. He plays an ancestor to Doctor Soong twice. So in season 1, it's a son,
Yeah.
or it's a grandson. It's a son and grandson, and then in season 2, it's like a great grandfather. Look exactly alike. It's
Yeah.
Yep.
oh, and he's
They, all,
not the ancestor too. It's so dumb.
they both happen to be exactly the same age as well. Who knew?
Great writing.
Exactly, just
Well,
Brent Spiner's age.
And he's going to be in season 3, so they're bringing back the entire
Yeah.
Wait,
cast.
there's
Are
going
they
to
going
be
to
more
bring?
Picard?
Yeah.
Are they going to bring back Khan as well?
Oh, they
You
they
might
have,
as well.
they have cons. They have a con to Strange New Worlds, which I'm going to finish watching tonight. But they have a con descendant on the crew of the Enterprise. With
What, like
Spock.
from the Botany Bay that they
Yeah.
recovered?
No, a descendant from Khan that didn't go on the Botany Bay. So like
Oh, right.
Khan must have had a Khan cousin or a sister that that didn't go on the Botany Bay that had descendants that ended up on the Enterprise that never gets brought up when Khan is found on the Botany Bay. Like Spock,
That makes sense. Makes sense.
Spock doesn't bring up his foster sister that he had all his life, or Khan, or like, hey, I totally worked. Like, oh, that's weird. I worked with Khan's like little or fucking I don't know, great cousin or whatever the hell it is, or it's that dumb. So they just need to get member berries. And Strange New Worlds is like considered good. It's terrible. It's just as terrible as everything else.
This goes exactly back to what I was saying with Star Trek. Whatever good ideas once existed, we're just going to keep rehashing them. Hey, Khan was a popular character because he was in that popular movie. Yeah, okay, let's just bring some references to him in. Of course, we should do that. There was a really poignant bit in when you talked about Red Letter Media there, when normally they just kind of goof around, they make fun of shows like Picard, but there was a bit where Mike just kind of got kind of serious, and he just said, I feel like I'm just done with this now. I don't even want to watch season 3. I'm not going to do it. I'm not interested in reviewing this anymore. And I feel like with the whole of Star Trek, it's just kind of tainted even my enjoyment of the old stuff, and I just feel like I want to leave it now. I'm finished with it. And I just thought, God damn, that's the power of these shows today. They can retroactively destroy your enjoyment of something.